All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the absolutely electrifying wisdom of the one and only Les Brown. We're talking about his incredible framework for smashing through obstacles and tapping into what he calls your comeback power. So let's just dive right in.
So, everything really kicks off with this fundamental choice that Les Brown says pretty much governs our entire lives. At every single turn, we've got a decision to make, right? Do we take the easy road or the hard one? And you know how it is. That immediate temptation is always the path of least resistance. And this really lays out those two options perfectly. I mean, the easy path, that's complaining, playing the victim, just giving up on your dreams. Look, anybody can do that. But where does it lead? To a hard life, a life full of regret. Now, the hard path, that means facing rejection head on, relentlessly working on your dream. Yeah, it's tough, for sure. But that's the path that actually builds a life that's truly fulfilling.
Okay, so if the choice is that clear, what's stopping us? What's the holdup? Well, Les Brown argues that the real obstacle, it isn't the world outside, it's not your circumstances, it's not other people. The real battle, he says, is a whole lot closer to home. And he really makes us ask ourselves this tough question. Seriously, when you think about what's holding you back from your goals, who or what is the first thing that pops into your head? Is it your job? Your money situation? Something from your past? And here's the answer. And you know, it's one of the hardest, but also one of the most empowering truths you'll ever hear. The number one obstacle, the biggest, toughest fight you will ever have, is with the person looking back at you in the mirror. Les Brown loves to use this powerful old African proverb to really hammer this point home. The idea is, once you conquer those battles inside your own head, the challenges on the outside, they just lose their power over you. They literally can't touch your core. So what are these internal enemies, really? Well, it's things like fear, those limiting beliefs we all have. You know, giving your power away by letting someone else's opinion become your reality. And Les Brown points out this staggering statistic. Get this, for most of us, 87% of our self-talk is negative. Just think about that. We are constantly, without even realizing it, programming ourselves for failure.
So, okay, if the enemy is inside us, then the solution has to be too, right? And this brings us to what might be Les Brown's most powerful metaphor for taking back control. It's time to stop being just an actor reading someone else's lines and step into the director's chair of your own life.
The core idea is so simple but so profound. Your life is your production. You're the director. You're the star. And you wrote the script. And if you don't like the movie you're living in right now, if it's a total flop, you're the one who produced it. But the good news is, you have the power to rewrite the script, recast some characters, and yell cut on any scene that just isn't working for you.
So, how do you actually start rewriting that script? Well, it starts with these 3 key steps. Number 1, take complete ownership. I mean, no more blaming anyone or anything. Number 2, you have to consciously change your mindset from negative to positive. And number 3, start saying yes to your life, yes to your dreams, yes to your potential, instead of that automatic no that fear is always whispering in your ear. All right, so we've got the problem identified, we've got the mindset shift, but how do we actually do this when things get really tough, you know? For this, Les Brown tells a story about what true, unwavering commitment really looks like in action. So the story is actually about a young Les Brown himself, way back when he was selling TVs door to door. And look, this was not just some job for him. His motivation was deeply, deeply personal. He had to hit his sales quota every single day because he was providing for his ill mother who couldn't work. I mean, the stakes could not have been higher. And day in, day out, he just faced a constant barrage of rejection. We're talking doors slammed in his face, people yelling, "Get away from our door." But his commitment, his why, was so much stronger than all that rejection. He made a deal with himself. He would not go home until he met his goal for the day, even if it meant he was out there knocking on doors till 1 o'clock in the morning.
And this is the profound lesson that came out of that whole experience. When you have that kind of unbreakable commitment, when you just refuse to be denied, something shifts. The universe, as he says, responds to that. And it's not some kind of magic. It's because your sheer dogged persistence will eventually, inevitably break through any barrier in your way. That whole experience taught him the 3 Ps that are absolutely essential for success. First, you have to be patient while you're planting the seeds of your dream. Then you've got to be persistent, pushing through all those storms of rejection. And finally, you have to stay positive to actually see it all the way through to the end.
And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most hopeful piece of Les Brown's message. It's this core belief that it doesn't matter how far you've fallen. You have an innate power inside you to rise up again, and not just rise up, but to come back stronger than you were before. I mean, just take the incredible story of Tom Perkins. Here's a guy successful in his mid-50s, and he lost everything. His business worth $750,000, his family, his home. He ended up living out of his car. He was so devastated, he actually tried to end his own life. But incredibly, he woke up 2 days later, and he had a new purpose. He heard a voice that told him, if you change your ways, I'll give you far more than you ever lost.
Tom's story is just such a powerful example of what Les Brown calls comeback power. And it's not some force out there in the universe. It's a power that's already inside every single one of us. It's that resilience, that grit, that allows you to get back up from any setback, any failure, any tragedy, and be even stronger for it.
And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. This is Les speaking directly to you. He says, I don't care how low you are. I don't care what you have done. It doesn't matter. You've got comeback power. It's in you right now, just waiting for you to unleash it.
So, that leaves us with one final question. Knowing everything we've just talked about, knowing that you are the director of your own movie, that your biggest enemy is looking at you in the mirror, and that you have this incredible comeback power just waiting inside you, what are you going to do with it? You're the one holding the pen. So what will your next chapter be?